I want you to imagine, just for a second, walking into a town where the most fundamental, unquestionable laws of physics have just stopped working.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But, not in a massive explosion in the sky kind of way. In a really quiet, deeply unsettling way. Like, imagine the sun is shining, but the basic relationship between light and darkness is completely broken.
That is a deeply uncomfortable image.
Right. And that is exactly the landscape we are walking into today. So welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we have a really fascinating and honestly pretty terrifying piece of short fiction on the table. It's titled The Town Without Shadows.
And it is such an incredible piece because the author takes something we completely take for granted, I mean, literally our own shadow, and turns it into this source of profound existential dread.
Yeah, it really does.
It forces you to look at the physical world and even your own body with this sudden sense of suspicion.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the mission of this deep dive isn't just to recap a ghost story. We are going to really explore the underlying mechanics of this narrative.
Right, the how and the why.
Exactly. We want to understand how this story brilliantly manipulates isolation, environmental psychology, and that deeply unsettling concept of our own dark half to build suspense.
It's a masterclass in tension, really.
So, our entry point is a protagonist named Noah Mercer. Now, Noah is a photographer, and he's built quite a following online by documenting abandoned American towns.
Mm-hmm. So he's used to creepy places.
Oh, totally. Decaying mining camps, ghost highways, forgotten churches. These eerie landscapes are basically his bread and butter.
Right.
So he makes a pit stop in San Oro, which is this forgotten settlement buried right on the Nevada-Arizona border. The map says the population is 312. But when Noah pulls in, it looks entirely abandoned.
Which immediately establishes a baseline of unease, right? But it's important to look at how the author actually accomplishes this.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Because like you said, Noah is an expert in creepy places. This is his comfort zone, so the environment shouldn't unnerve him this quickly.
Yeah.
Yet the first warning sign isn't visual at all.
No, it's auditory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is an overwhelming auditory void.
The text actually makes a specific point to note this isn't just your ordinary small-town quiet. It's a deeper, much heavier silence. The kind that makes every footstep sound intrusive.
It's depressive.
Very. It's dusk, right? The sky is this dying orange color. The wind is pushing dust across these cracked roads, and it is unbearably hot.
Right.
Yet there are no children playing outside. There's no music coming from open windows, just the weak buzz of old neon motel signs.
And there's a biological reason that freaks him out.
Wait, really? What is happening in our brains when we encounter an environment like that? Like, why does silence suddenly feel so threatening?
Well, it comes down to how human cognition works. Our brains are essentially predictive engines,
Okay, meaning what exactly?
meaning they constantly model the environment based on past data to anticipate what's going to happen next. So when you walk into a desert community at dusk, your brain naturally predicts certain ambient noises.
Oh, I see. Like the wind moving through structures or distant voices, bugs, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Insects, cars, life.
Yeah.
When it encounters a complete auditory void instead, the predictive model fails.
Wow.
And that failure triggers an immediate cortisol response. The brain essentially assumes that if the environment is this unnaturally quiet, a predator must be nearby.
That makes perfect sense. So Noah's conscious brain is trying to write it off as, just an isolated town acting weird. But his threat detection systems are already firing on all cylinders.
He's physiologically prepping for danger before he even sees anything wrong.
Right. And then he finally does spot the locals, which somehow only escalates the tension.
Oh, absolutely. Because of how they're acting.
Yeah. Everyone he sees seems desperate to get indoors before nightfall. They are rushing along the sidewalks, carrying groceries, locking their shop doors in this absolute nervous silence.
And completely ignoring him.
Nobody will look directly at him.
Yeah.
He interacts with this old woman who is squeaking outside a diner, and she freezes completely when he raises his camera.
Just terrified.
She is. And she tells him, really quietly, you shouldn't photograph after dark.
Which is such a chilling line. And it plays into the sociological mechanics of group panic.
How so?
Well, panic is highly contagious.
Yeah.
Evolutionarily, we are wired to be alert when the herd, so to speak, starts panicking.
Oh, like when birds suddenly all fly away at once.
Exactly. Even if we don't personally know the source of the danger, observing others engage in frantic survival behavior tells our nervous system to prepare for an emergency.
But Noah brushes her off.
Yeah.
I mean, he gives her this polite smile and says, golden hour is the best lighting.
He's still trying to rationalize.
Yeah. But the woman doesn't smile back. She just says, "It won't be golden for long." And then she hurries inside and locks this heavy diner door.
Leaving him completely alone.
Right, and I kept asking myself while I was reading this, is Noah just experiencing typical tourist paranoia here? Because it feels so much heavier than that.
It does.
It really reminds me of that moment in a horror movie where the background music completely drops out. Like nothing has jumped out at you yet, but your brain knows the environment has just become hostile.
That is a perfect analogy. That absence of normal sensory input is the bridge from psychological dread to physical impossibility.
Oh, I like how you phrased that.
The author basically strips away the comforting illusions of reality before completely breaking the rules of physics.
Which brings us to the moment the visual rules of reality just break down entirely.
Yes.
The shadows.
Right. So the sun is still hovering above the horizon. It is still daytime. Yet Noah realizes that several buildings are casting no shadows at all.
Which is impossible.
Literally impossible.
Mm-hmm.
He frowns, he adjusts his camera settings, thinks maybe the angle of the light is just distorting things.
Again, trying to find a logical explanation.
Exactly. But as the dusk deepens and the streetlights flicker on across town, the phenomenon spreads. Every local shadow slowly disappears.
And they don't just fade out in the dim light.
No, they vanish. Noah watches this man crossing the street, casting a long silhouette against the pavement, and then the next moment, nothing. It's just gone.
What's fascinating here is how Noah experiences intense cognitive dissonance in this moment because his eyes are fighting his brain.
Exactly. Light requires an obstruction to cast a shadow. If the obstruction is there, the shadow simply must be there.
Right.
So when the brain is confronted with empirical evidence that violates fundamental spatial reasoning, it tries desperately to rationalize it.
Noah blames the lens, the angle, his own fatigue, literally anything to avoid accepting that the laws of physics have been suspended.
Because if physics is broken, then he is in extreme danger.
Well, and the danger gets real very quickly. The shadowless man notices Noah staring at this impossible scene, and his expression just turns to pure fear.
He knows Noah shouldn't be seeing this.
He whispers to Noah, "Get inside before midnight," and then he just speed walks away under the streetlights, completely shadowless.
Oh, creepy.
But curiosity completely overrides Noah's survival instincts here. He starts photographing everything, the empty roads, the shadowless people, the unnatural lighting, and then he captures the impossible image.
This is the turning point of the whole story.
It really is. So he takes a wide shot of the town square. At first glance, it looks totally normal. But then Noah zooms in on the digital screen of his camera. Every person in the image lacks a shadow, except for one.
Mm-hmm.
There is a dark figure standing alone near the far edge of the frame. It's not a person. It is only a shadow standing upright, without an owner.
The camera is so crucial here.
Why do you say that?
Because it acts as an instrument of objective truth.
Mm.
You know, humans can hallucinate. Our eyes can play tricks on us, but lenses cannot.
Right. The camera doesn't lie.
Exactly. By capturing this image, the camera removes Noah's ability to maintain deniability. Technology has documented an independent, moving shadow. It destroys any logical explanation his brain was clinging to.
It is such a deeply unsettling visual. Just the idea of a shadow existing without a source, it completely violates our core understanding of how we occupy space in the universe.
It's an intrusion into reality.
So Noah spins around instantly to look at the square in real life, but it's empty. There's no figure anywhere. But when he looks back down at the digital screen on his camera...
The shadow has moved closer.
Yes, which is terrifying.
Because it implies it is interacting with the observer. It's not just some static anomaly caused by weird geography. It has intent.
And this total collapse of objective reality forces a confrontation. Noah can't unsee the photo. So when the elderly motel owner approaches him right after this, Noah demands answers.
He needs to know what he's looking at.
Right. So the owner's name is Gabriel. He's this thin man who looks exhausted far beyond his years. And he tells Noah, "You need to leave."
A very clear warning.
But Noah lowers the camera and flat out asks what is happening to the shadows.
Oh, you said the word.
He did, and Gabriel gets this tight, terrified look on his face and says, "We don't say that word after sunset."
Let's pause and define what Gabriel's doing right there, because this is a textbook example of magical thinking.
Magical thinking. What does that mean in this context?
It's a psychological coping mechanism. It's where people believe their thoughts, actions, or words can directly influence external events.
Oh, like a superstition.
Exactly. It's very common in situations of extreme stress or trauma. Gabriel truly believes that just uttering the word will summon the threat.
Wow.
It highlights how utterly powerless the townspeople feel. They have reverted to these ancient, superstitious survival tactics because modern logic has failed them.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Right as Gabriel says that, the temperature drops suddenly, like instantly cold.
Transition begins.
The last sunlight vanishes completely beyond the desert horizon. And instantly, every streetlight in town flickers once.
Boom.
Gabriel grabs Noah's arm hard and literally drags him into the motel lobby. He locks every door, closes every curtain, and tells Noah, do not look outside after midnight.
The rules of survival.
Yes. And then Gabriel finally explains the mechanics of this nightmare. He tells Noah that 30 years ago, back in 1993, this town found silver beneath the desert.
A classic gold rush or silver rush scenario.
Right, but they kept digging. Eventually, the miners uncovered this massive underground cavern right beneath San Oro, and inside they discovered strange black formations covering the walls.
Not rock formations.
Not rock.
Something else.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the 1993 mining incident taps into deep-rooted historical and psychological origins of mining folklore.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, throughout human history, we have maintained a profound psychological block about the subterranean world. Think about it. The surface is the realm of the living. Underground is the realm of the dead.
That's true across so many different cultures.
Yes. So digging for silver, going that deep, is a violation of that boundary. This narrative basically maps modern anxieties about industrial resource extraction onto ancient fears.
So by plundering the earth for wealth, humanity essentially unleashed something untamable.
Exactly. Greed broke the seal.
And the workers paid for it. They described these shadows moving independently underground, watching them in the dark, following them home from the mines.
And then the disappearances started. People vanished during the night, leaving only these black stains behind on the floor or the walls.
And the town realized the pattern.
Right, the terrifying pattern. At sunset, the shadows left the people. At midnight, they came back. But I really struggled to understand the rules here while reading it.
Which part?
Well, if the shadows detach at sunset, why do they wait until midnight to attack? Like, what is the functional purpose of that delay? Where do they go?
Think of it as a ritualistic delay designed specifically for psychological torture.
Torture?
Yes, because midnight isn't just a time on a clock, right? It is a psychological threshold. Historically, it is the witching hour.
Ah, right.
It's the moment of deepest darkness when the conscious, rational world winds down and the unconscious world asserts dominance.
So they're waiting for the humans to be at their most vulnerable.
Exactly. The hours between sunset and midnight give the shadows time to organize, sure, but more importantly, it forces the human victims to sit in agonizing anticipation.
Oh, that is so cool.
The delay breaks their minds before the physical attack even begins. They defeat the hosts psychologically first.
And that wait is terrifyingly illustrated by the clock in Gabriel's lobby. It reads 11:47 p.m. Outside, the town is completely silent. No cars, no voices, no wind.
Just waiting.
And then, the first knock.
Oh, this part.
3 slow taps against the motel's front window. Knock, knock, knock.
So methodical.
Gabriel goes pale instantly. Another knock echoes farther down the street, then another. Doors across town rattle softly. Windows are tapped from the outside.
Right.
It's like this massive entity is methodically wandering through San Oro, searching house by house.
The author uses that synchronized tapping to signify intelligence.
They aren't just mindless beasts acting on instinct.
Not at all. The sheer scale and organization of the thread reveal a highly coordinated predatory ecosystem.
And then the clock strikes midnight. Every light inside the motel dies instantly. Absolute darkness swallows the building.
The witching hour arrives.
Noah looks out through the cracks in the curtains, and he sees movement. Tall, black shapes sliding silently beneath the streetlights. Human-shaped darkness moving independently across the road.
And they don't move like humans.
No. Some are crawling unnaturally along the walls. Others are stretching impossibly tall across the rooftops. And every single one of them is moving toward an occupied building.
They know exactly where their targets are.
Somewhere in the distance, a scream echoes through the town. It's brief, cut off suddenly, and then that dead silence returns.
This raises an important question about what these entities actually represent.
Right, because they aren't aliens or ghosts.
Exactly. They aren't foreign invaders. They are the dark reflections of the victims themselves.
Gabriel actually whispers to Noah, "Don't let yours find you." And Noah looks down. For the first time since sunset, his shadow has returned beneath the glow of the emergency lights.
But it's wrong.
Yeah. It's not copying his movements. It's standing, facing the wrong direction, just watching him. And then it smiles. It honestly reminds me of an autoimmune disease.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison. How so?
Well, your immune system is a piece of your own existence, right? It's designed to protect you, to move with you.
Right, it's part of your survival.
But when it suddenly decides you are the enemy and turns against you, it is uniquely horrifying because you can't fight yourself. Your own body is the threat.
That autoimmune metaphor is perfect
Yeah.
because it explains the mechanical failure happening here perfectly.
How do you mean?
In an autoimmune response, the body's defense mechanisms misidentify the self as a pathogen. Psychologically speaking, when the shadow detaches and turns hostile, it represents the psyche splitting.
A piece of the self has decided that the host is obsolete,
Exactly.
and then the shadow steps closer. Its movements are jerky and unnatural, like an animal learning to walk. And it speaks to Noah using his own voice.
It uses his voice.
Yes, it says, "You left me alone."
Wow.
And at that exact moment, the motel windows shatter. Living darkness pours inside. Gabriel runs for the back hallway, screaming for Noah to follow him.
Absolute chaos.
But Gabriel doesn't make it. His own shadow peels away from the floor mid-run and just grabs his legs.
It attacks him physically.
Gabriel collapses violently, and his shadow climbs across his body like black oil while he screams. And then, suddenly, silence. The shadow stands alone. Gabriel is just gone.
Replaced.
Just darkness shaped vaguely like him.
Notice the mechanism of the attack here. The shadows aren't just killing their owners. They are consuming and replacing them.
Taking your place in the physical world.
Right. They absorb the host to become the primary entity. This speaks to a very specific danger. The peril of abandoning our suppressed traits.
So what does this all mean for Noah? Well, he doesn't stick around to philosophize, that's for sure.
Smart man.
He runs out the back exit and into the dead streets of San Oro. And the moonlight illuminates the apocalyptic scale of this phenomenon.
It's a town-wide massacre.
People are sprinting desperately while their own shadows hunt them down. Shadows drag screaming owners into alleyways. Others merge slowly back onto bodies while the victims convulse on the pavement.
And what happens after they merge?
Well, once they are reunited, the people stand back up. But they are wrong somehow.
Right.
They are smiling, just watching the others run. The assimilation process is complete.
The dark half has taken the wheel.
And Noah's shadow is following calmly behind him. It never rushes and never loses pace.
It knows it has him.
Noah sees the desert stretching beyond the town limits and thinks it's freedom. He sprints toward the sand dunes, hits the edge of town, and stops cold.
The ultimate trap.
Because waiting silently beyond the town, covering the dunes beneath the moonlight, are thousands of shadows.
Just waiting?
Watching. Waiting. The entire desert is moving. Noah realizes the shadows never belonged to the town. The town belonged to them.
They're an ecosystem.
His own shadow finally reaches him. It places these cold, black hands gently on his shoulders and whispers softly into his ear, "You can't exist without us."
That line right there.
Yeah.
You can't exist without us. It forces us to confront the concept of the Jungian shadow self.
Jungian shadow. Unpack that for us.
So, in analytical psychology, Carl Jung defined the shadow as the unconscious repository for everything a person denies in themselves.
So, like our flaws.
Flaws, but also instincts. It's where we stuff our anger, our petty jealousies, our unacceptable desires. Think about how often you suppress an angry impulse just to remain polite at work.
Oh, all the time, right?
But what the story asks you to consider is, where does that suppressed energy actually go?
It doesn't just vanish.
No, it doesn't vanish. It waits in the dark. The story argues that we are inextricably linked to our darker halves, and trying to outrun or separate from them is a fatal mistake.
Because you cannot have the light without the dark.
Exactly.
It's a really chilling realization of inescapable duality. And the narrative immediately hard cuts to the hauntingly calm aftermath of the very next morning.
A total reset.
The sun comes up and San Oro looks perfectly normal again. Sunlight covers the empty streets. The locals calmly reopen their stores. Shadows stretch naturally across the sidewalks.
Nothing to see here.
Right. Tourists driving by wouldn't notice a single thing unusual. Except for the newest resident. There is a new photographer wandering slowly through town, carrying a camera beneath the blazing desert sun. He is smiling pleasantly at everyone he passes. But if you look closely, if you pay attention to the ground beneath his feet, he casts absolutely no shadow at all.
So creepy. We've really traveled from an exploration of evolutionary threat detection in a quiet desert town all the way to a deeply philosophical terror about what happens when the absolute darkest parts of ourselves claim autonomy.
We really have.
But trying to leave the shadow behind,
Yeah.
humanity basically made itself utterly vulnerable to being consumed by it.
The author managed to take something that follows us every single day of our lives and map our deepest psychological anxieties right onto it.
Truly brilliant storytelling.
It is. So the next time you find yourself walking under a solitary streetlight at night, take a look at that shadow stretching out in front of you. Watch how it moves. Ask yourself, is it just following your lead, or is it merely waiting for its turn to be in control?